Somebody asked recently what the benefits to ice dye or mist dye would be, like the differences. And I want to show you one of the downsides of ice dye and how I get around it. So if you're just doing one application of ice and dye, then it goes through and whatever is on the top usually gets the brightest detail, like the brightest color, the most detail, and it looks the best. And sometimes that ends up being like the front of your shirt or the back of your shirt. Because you can see on the back here, it's much flatter in color because the blues and the blacks will kind of just sit at the bottom, and reds and oranges don't go as far anyway. So what I do is I try to arrange the shirt so that I'll like pay attention to the bundles that I tie. And I know that this is the front of the shirt, this is the one arm, and this is another arm, and then this is the back. So I try to make sure that the top of the shirt is at the top, is gonna get full access to the first melt of dye and ice. And then the bottom of the shirt will look less bright, but that's okay. It's better than having like just the front or the back looking bright and detailed, you know? This is how the shirt turned out, and I want to show you some of the things that I was talking about earlier. So up here, the front of the shirt, this is a section that I want to look really good, and it looks good. I love this detail here, and I like the shadowing effect next to the white lines, nice contrast, and some good color variation, so that's a win shirt for me. Other areas that I was talking about, okay, so when the parts that are on the bottom, when you're dyeing the shirt, they're gonna look flatter because there's less like dye variation by the time it all melds together and drips out the bottom. And the lines are usually like bigger and fuzzier, not as crisp, because the dye that reaches there is more diluted with water. So the water fills the lines, and then once it fills it, the dye can't get into the line as much. So that's why those lines get bigger looking. And also, I pre-soaked this one. I tied it, I soaked it in soda ash, and then I spun it out and dyed it damp. I usually don't do that these days, but I just wanted to do a comparison. So the white lines here are pretty bright. And then over here is a shirt that I dyed with similar colors, and I dyed that one dry. So maybe I can back up a little more and you can see differences here. So you can decide which way you like it to be. I kind of like this one a little more because I like it when the dark colors seep into the lines and then everything in between gets washed out. So it kind of looks like a reverse dye in that way. I'm a fan of that. But then down at the bottom, the details get less defined. That's okay though, because if you're strategic about where you put the bottom areas, then it doesn't really matter that much. It's just the top area that needs to look good. You know, it's about balance. The whole shirt doesn't need to be perfect in order for it to be a really amazing shirt. So yeah, there's that. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm really digging this area here. It's like bright blue. Oh, the colors. Let me tell you the colors on these. So on this shirt, it was black from Jacquard, wasabi, citrus yellow, and peach. And this one was the same, except instead of wasabi, I used turquoise. And I used more dye on this one in general. So yeah, it looks like I think the wasabi tended to go a little more yellow in this area.